that all of this started because a former Doge employee named Big Balls got beat up by a 15-year-old girl in Washington, D.C. last week. You cannot make this stuff up. Now, King Cankles is using this as a pretext to take over Washington, D.C. by federalizing the National Guard and their police force. Check out his official announcement here.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
This is the textbook Authoritarian playbook. Manufacture a crisis, doesn't matter how ridiculous the trigger may be. The zone with military presence, and then act like a hero riding in to save the day. Meanwhile, you're conditioning the public to accept more and more federal control over local affairs. The scary part, when Congress rolls over and extends his 30 days, that's the green light for him to make this the new normal. It's the thing, Trump's whole DC crime-ridden thing, yeah, that's just straight up fear-mongering. The actual numbers tell a completely different story. Crime in DC is down by more than 25% this year alone. Homicides are down by over 12%, and robberies have dropped nearly 30%. That's not a city in chaos. That's a city getting safer because of good local policies. Trump doesn't want you to look at the stats. He wants you to believe the BS coming out of his mouth. Not just Trump spewing this type of blatant misinformation. He's got a new mouthpiece named Benny Johnson, and he's literally calling for ethnic cleansing in D.C.
Then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested that you just need to, you're just going to have to crack down. You're going to have to do the job, and you're going to have to get the crime out of Washington. That's my personal experience. Don't believe the bullshit that you hear online. What happened to D.C., especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. It is one of the worst, most racist narco states and welfare states imaginable. In that neighborhood that I would walk every single day, racial epithets were screamed at us. Rocks were thrown at us because we were white people. This city is a sunken place. It is an unsafe place. I mean, if that's what happens to me, imagine what happens to somebody who's visiting here from a foreign country, right? It's totally and wholly unsafe and a scar on the face of our country. And it must be healed. And President Trump is going about that heavy work.
From law and order to straight up ethnic cleansing? Let's just call it what it is. This is fascist fan fiction for people who think that Fox News is the Library of Congress. This isn't about safety, it's about control. Trump and his little wannabe authoritarian fan club are using one street fight and a mountain of lies to try to justify turning DC into their own personal police state. And if you think it stops at DC, then you haven't been paying attention. Today, it's the Capitol. Tomorrow, it's any blue city that refuses to kiss the ring. So we either push back now or get used to living in a country where only one man's ego is allowed to bulldoze democracy. So glad that DC is fighting back. Still believe in democracy? Please like this video and subscribe. I'm trying to reach my first 300 subscribers. Until next time.